Don't know the audio is because I'm just using my AirPods. Hope it's okay. So, just been doing my journal this morning and a coffee, and I'm going to talk about why I always choose to work on three small things a day. I talk about this quite a lot. So, working on three small things a day. Why do we do it? Well, mm, the reason why I do it is because whatever project I'm working on, whatever goal I'm currently working towards, the whole goal is absolutely, let's say it's quite a big goal. Currently, um, I've got, well, there's, got my business. I've got a new business that I'm doing, this new venture. Um, so yeah, I've got a lot of work to do to get both of them things off the ground, along with a lot of personal goals like, fitness and things like this. But when you look at them all, they're absolutely massive. And just getting started and things, a lot of people, some people struggle. I know I did at the first. I was terrible procrastinator throughout my history. I'd leave it all, like, even when I was studying, I'd kind of like massive projects to do. And I just, because the thought of starting something, it was like, this is a lot of work. The thought of starting something meant that I would just put it off. And then when I was studying at university, I just put a piece of coursework off, and then I'd try and do it in the last day because basically time had run out, and I'd just be forced to do it. So procrastination was making me put it off because the thought of it was too big. So I would basically just put the whole thing off until it just got to the point where I could no longer hide from it. I had to do it. So it kind of catches up with you. You can only procrastinate for so long until you get yourself in trouble. And then right at the end, so I was there, like, let's say this coursework, you had 3 months or a month to produce it, right? I was there studying, and then all of a sudden, it would get to the last week because I'd be avoiding it. And yeah, I'd literally just try and call it cramming, don't you? Just cram it into like 2 or 3 days or a weekend, because I'd be forced to do that because I'd be putting it off just because the thought of doing it was too big. And I'd end up having to work all the way through the night. And you're talking almost like, I'd be working like not sleeping, working through the night, trying to like cramming, trying to get this project finished. And what I should have been doing was when I got first given that coursework right at the start, at the 2 month mark, when I had 2 months to do it, and this is what I would do today, is start nibbling away at it each day. Probably do like half an hour on it, an hour each day. So by the time it got to the end, I would have finished early. I would have finished a better product. Would have would have been lots of sleep and rest because our attention span's only quite small. We can only work in small focus blocks, before we need a little break. And if I'd have done that right from the start, I'd have produced a better product. I wouldn't have been tired. I wouldn't have like, had to work the full weekend without sleeping and stuff like this. And I want to get it done. So it just I suppose a little lesson on like procrastination. I used to be absolutely terrible at it. I've always been a good ideas guy. Always come up with good ideas, good business ideas, good project ideas. Executing them has always been my problem, and I was procrastinate. So I've changed all that. Whoosh! Right. Sorry, I just spilt my bread. Right. So I've changed all that now. I'm no longer procrastinate like that. I'm no longer that person that puts it off right until the end, right next to the deadline, and then trying to cram it in. So today, I do actually always work on just three things a day, and it's quite a good model. Um, just written mine down here in my journal. Three things that I'm going to work on today. And if you think about it, if you've got a big task, let's say you're starting a new business or might be a fitness goal or something like this. You're trying to, lose 25 kilos or whatever, you know. Don't know whether it's what's that, like 50 odd pound or whatever. You're not going to do it all in one go, and it's quite scary. And if you think about the whole thing, that's where you start procrastinating. So um, every task can be broken down into small enough chunks to start, right? And when you've got, if you're going to approach it with little small chunks, little small pieces of work, which is what I do, maybe just half an hour or whatever a day, um, it can be quite humiliating at first, right? Especially when you're starting right at the bottom and you like, let's say you're going to lose some weight, or you're going to start running or something like this, and you can't run from here to there, you can't run flipping 20 yards or whatever without falling out of breath. It's very humiliating at first to just start and make that first step, right? And procrastination, there's two types to it. One is, yeah, the humility of it, of just creating change. If you're going to do something, usually you do it to make a change, improve your life. And at first, your fear of being judged. I've done some videos on this, fear of being player hated, or the fear of being judged for your success, which is a real thing. You're worried about, oh yeah, people might laugh at me because I'm starting to run and I can't run or whatever. Um, cheers, thanks. Uh, or they might laugh at me because they think I'm never going to make this project work or this new business work. And it's very humiliating at first when you take that first step. Even personally, inside, it's like, because it's actually an attack on your identity because it's not normal. It's something new. Um, so it feels weird and it's uncomfortable and it's humiliating. But I don't think there's any task that you cannot break down into a small enough piece to get started, so everyone can. And this is why what I say in my videos when I talk about do three small things a day. Um, and just a bit of background, right? I journal a lot, and I believe in journaling because and I use it for goal achievement. So I've got my own journal that I'm currently. It's about 2 weeks away. Just being. I'm having it custom printed, so it's really high quality and a really quality piece of work. And it's the surmise of everything that I say in my videos about goal achievement. So everything's contained in the journal, and it starts with creating some goals. But the crux of it, well, you create an identity first, is who you see yourself and who you want to be. Then you create some goals, and then the main part of it is the journal, and that's where you're working continuous improvement each day. And I always say that you work on three small things a day. And why three things? Well, if you've ever tried to work consistently towards something, you might think, well, I'll do 20 things in a day. Yeah, you might do. But if you write down three things, do you actually do those three things? It's quite hard to do something consistently. Like one thing I'm doing at the minute is learning piano, right? Bought a piano, one of these digital pianos, right? I've been playing guitar all my life and messing around a little bit of keyboard. And I thought, I really want to learn piano. So I bought a piano, right? And I've been doing it for about 3 months or something, 10 minutes a day. Got a little app, you plug it in, it's digital, so you plug into the MIDI port, and it's really good. It's a really good app. You just follow it, and it plays background music through the speakers, and it's a really sort of intuitive thing. And it starts at the very bottom, and after about 3 months, I can play a couple of tunes, and I'm over the moon just through 10 minutes. Now, recently, I've started to slip. I said to myself, I'll do at least 10 minutes a day. And I started to slip. And I've not done it for a week. All right, I've been away and things like this. I've not been around at home. Um, but I have slipped off. And even like yesterday, I didn't do any. So it's very, very hard to consistently work towards your goals. So when I say I do three things a day, the reason why you don't put 10 things on your list a day is because it's hard enough doing 3 things consistently every day than it is flipping 10 things. So, like me with the piano thing, right? I haven't done it yesterday. I haven't done it for a week. So I've fallen off the wagon a bit. So today I must do my 10 minutes on the piano. I was doing really well, getting to the point where I'm playing a couple of tunes. Like, I want it so that, like, you can just turn up in a bar and there's a piano in corner, you just play a couple of tunes, and I want to be that good. Not brilliant, but just good enough to pull a couple of tunes together. But I slipped off for a week. So this is why I always say I do 3 things, because 3 things, it's hard enough doing 3 things consistently a day. And in my journal, I have this method where it doesn't have to be the same 3 things. It can be you've got a set of goals, right? And I always say, maybe you have 3 to 4 goals that you work on at any one time, and only one of them be a primary goal, or maybe one or two. So you might have a primary goal, and that might be, my primary goal is this business or this project idea that I need for my work or whatever. That's my primary goal, and to make this much money. Hey, how you doing? um, and then after, you've got a primary goal, and then you may have some supplementary goals, right? Like fitness, and then maybe a family goal, right? And what you're doing when you work on your 3 things a day, you're just picking from any of those goals, and you can move it around, but you're working on 3 to 4 goals. One's a primary, and you might say in your journal, you're going to put in here every day. So, first one I always put is something about my work. So I've got some data work, got an IT business. That's what I'm doing. So I'm working on my a project for a client, very important client, one of our biggest clients, and I'm working on some data work. I've then got another goal, which is another project, right? And then the rest of that, I've got prepare some new videos for my new business, which is a different business, right? That's about my journal that's coming out, and I've got to prepare. I'm in the final stages of it, and I'm just preparing the tutorial videos. So inside the journals, loads of like QR codes where you scan it and videos pop up and things. So I'm just doing them, and that's what I will work on today. Now, just getting them 3 things done. They're not huge. The first one's like half an hour. The second one, that's about an hour, because I've got to write some documents, and that is not one I'll do in a day. I'll just do an hour today. And then the third one, the prep for the videos, I'm not actually creating the videos, I'm just writing the scripts. So maybe that's half an hour, 45 minutes. So if you think about it, that's less than 2.5 hours work, right? And that's what I call my real work, right? You only need to do 2 or 3 hours on this stuff. And then once you've done them 3 things for the day, your top 3 things, it doesn't really matter then how the rest of the day goes. You can just toss it off. You can maybe do a bit of extra work, a bit of admin or whatever, or if you work in an office, you're probably making cups of tea and chatting and emailing and other stuff that's just well, it's not useless, but it's not very important. A lot of the stuff that you do in an office and at work, I'll tell you now, you sat there for 8 hours, 80% of it, 90% of it will not get you any closer to your goals. It's just stuff you do, emails and, you know. So if you just do them 3 things, maybe spend a couple of hours on them, right? 2, 3 hours, whatever, or maybe even an hour. Once you finish those 3 things, the pressure's off. Try and get it done early in the morning. So when you get to the afternoon, the pressure's off. You're enjoying it, even if you have to work a 9 to 5 and you're stuck in an office. If you do them in the morning, right, the stuff that's the needle movers, the things that are going to move you towards your goals, the rest of the day you can just chat, make brews, make cups of tea, zoom in and out with your mouse, whatever you're going to do, because you've achieved what you're going to do. So it's very, very, it's hard enough being consistent on just doing 3 small things a day than it is trying to do a big, long to-do list of 10 things, right? Make sure you do them 3 things a day, and then the rest doesn't matter, right? And going back to what I said at the very start, whenever you embark on a new project, whether that's a new business goal, a new fitness goal, it can be quite humiliating at first, especially when you're doing something new because it's uncomfortable. So if you have that goal to lose some weight, start going to the gym. It's January, isn't it? Everyone goes to the gym in January. I went late last night, and it was still pretty packed. You don't see them again in February, but and this is it. Like a lot of people, if you're going to start thinking, I'm going to get in shape and whatever, and go to the gym, lose some weight, it's humiliating at first when you first go in because it's uncomfortable. It's something new, and it's attack on your own personal identity, really, because that's not what you do, and you're making that change. It is humiliating, but you've got to. No task is big enough. No task is too big. You can always break it down into a small bit. So if that's your first day in the gym, just like don't take it easy. Just do half hour, 30 minutes. Don't do anything too strenuous. You're getting used to that habit. It's more important to form the habit. You're not going in and absolutely, doing your personal best on the squat rack on day one if you've never been in before, right? So just take it easy, go in. Just the act of going in first is enough. So do that, come away, maybe train 3, 4 times a week, and then go in. Same again if you're going to start running or cycling or whatever. Don't, try and, if you can only run 100 yards or 100 meters, just do that or even less. Don't start, trying to overcommit. And this is the point of continuous improvement or Kaizen, which is why I always say I do 3 things a day because consistently, consistency is more important than trying to do everything in one day. So if you think about it, what's more powerful? Is it working every single day? So maybe working 5 solid days for 16 hours, right? Which do you think is going to get you most result? Let's say you cram it in every single day, 20 hours, 16 hours, whatever, for 5 days, right? Or you do 1 or 2, maybe 3 hours a day max, 1 to 2 hours, 3 hours a day max, consistently for 12 months, which is going to get your best result. I always think that small, consistent work over a long period of time will beat consistency, will beat an intense period of work of any length in the long run. That's where you're going to get your major results. So that's why I always say I do 3 things a day. Small things, they only have to be 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour tops each. Really focused, all working towards your goals. And you can change every day. So, if you've got those sort of 3, 4 goals and one of them's a primary goal, I would say always pick something from nibble away at your primary goals as one of your 3 small things, or maybe 2 of them. And then pick something else, whether you got a fitness one or whatever, and just keep going. And you'd be amazed, like, the idea that we have to work 8, 10 hours a day. Well, you do if you got a job, but if you work for yourself, you don't. You'd be better focusing on the things that move the needle and get you closer towards your goals, rather than sort of doing all these emails and stressing around and things like this and all this pointless stuff. Just be results focused and focus on them. All right. And like I said, I've got my journal in print. Should be about 2 weeks away. It's my new business. I'm going to be selling them. Obviously be putting some links in my videos. But if you want to achieve those results, then everything I talk about is in the journal. There's 3 parts to it. You start by creating an identity. You then set some goals. So this is your 3 or 4 goals that you're going to work on. One of them will be a primary goal, maybe 2 of them are a primary goal max. And then you get into the journaling, and that's where each day you work consistently towards your goals in little small bits. So it's all about breaking them massive goals into small bits, 20 minutes, half an hour each day. So it's not too much of a threat to you because there's like a psychological part of doing new things. It's a threat, it's an attack on your identity, your self to do something new. It's uncomfortable and it's humiliating when you start because you look at it, you think, oh, I want to make this huge change. And that's why breaking it down into small bits is the best way. Consistency. I've done this in so many different areas. I consistently do it all the time. And that's why I put it in my journal. And that's why I talk about it on my videos. And it applies to everything. Doesn't matter. Whether it's a work goal, whether it's a relationship goal, whether it's a fitness goal, whether it's a skill, learning a language. You think about learning a language, you get one of these apps now. You don't sit there and do 8 hours on it, do you? You do like 10 minutes and then tomorrow you do another 10 minutes and then, you're not, the that's why I don't like these crash courses, like I know you can get like a Spanish crash course or something like this. And yeah, they'll probably work, but if you just do the crash course and then get on with your normal life, 2 weeks later, you'll forget it all because there's no consistency. You know what I mean? It's better to spread it out, I always think. But, people want quick results or they look at the whole goal or the whole thing and think, wow, that's big. And it frightens them off from starting, scared of starting. Like I say, I used to be like this, especially when I was at university studying. Just get coursework and just put it off until the last weekend and then try and work through the night. It's a terrible way of working. Consistency is the way. So, yeah, that's it. Quick video. Thank you very much for listening and see you all next time. How do I stop this?